Good afternoon. I am Dr. Anurag Manna in Patna Sahib Singh Pathshala. This is Patna Sahib Singh Pathshala Civil Services class, CSAT class 6, Mission 2024, A Journey for Excellence by Dr. Anurag Manna, Anugrah Narayan Bhagat Medical College Hospital, Gaya. Today is 19th of the August 2023 and it is Saturday CSAT class. Today we will once more learn how to read a passage and how to go through the passage and how to delineate the central theme of a passage, because understanding the central theme of any passage is the key to solving questions based on those passages. So here we will read a passage and we will underline the keywords given in the passage so that we can figure out what is the central theme of the passage. This is a very small passage, but when you will go in your actual examination, you might get a lengthy passage having 4 or 5 paragraphs. In that situation, you will have to be a bit smart. You will have to read the first 1 or 2 lines of the first paragraph and first 1 and 2 lines of the last paragraph. In those very sentences, you will get the central theme of a big passage. For passages like this one, it will be very easy to figure out what is the central theme of the passage. So let us start with the passage. Individuals, groups and leaders who promote human development operate under strong institutional, structural and political constraints that affect policy options. Here the keyword is human development, which I have already underlined, and constraints. Constraints means limitations that affect policy options. But experience suggests broad principles for shaping an appropriate agenda for human development. Again, we have got human development. So it seems that human development is the central theme of this passage. One important finding from several decades of human development experience is that focusing exclusively on economic growth is problematic. Means human development demands more than economic growth. While we have good knowledge about how to advance health and education, the causes of growth are much less certain and growth is often elusive. Means health and education are really important for the growth, but what actually leads to growth is less certain and growth is often elusive. By just focusing on health and education, we cannot create growth. Further, an unbalanced emphasis on growth is often associated with negative environmental consequences and adverse distributional effects. Means just emphasis on growth itself leads to negative environmental consequences and lack of inclusive growth. That is, distribution of income among all sections is not possible when we just focus on growth alone. The experience of China with its impressive growth record reflects these broader concerns and underlines the importance of balanced approaches that emphasize investments in the non-income aspects of human development. What are the non-income aspects of human development? These environmental consequences and distributional effects. Means, so just focusing on economic growth will not suffice the human development, because human development is beyond economic growth and it also includes environmental concerns and distribution of income that is generated out of economic growth. So now come to the questions. With reference to the above passage, consider following statements. Number 1. In developing countries, a strong institutional framework is the only requirement for human development and policy options. No. Just a strong institutional, structural and political constraints are not sufficient, because experience suggests broad principles. Just having a strong institutional framework is not sufficient to promote human development. Broad principles are needed that include environmental consequences and distributional effects. So this statement number 1 is gone. So our option number A and D is gone, and now we are left with option B and C, in which 2 is already there. 2, it means option number 2 must be correct. Let us examine it. Human development and economic growth are not always positively interrelated. Yes, the example of China shows China has impressive growth, but it has some problems in the environmental consequences and distributional effects. So, human development and economic growth are not always positively interrelated. Means growth requires much more than human education and human health. So, and number 3, focusing only on human development should be the goal of economic growth. No. Here it is clearly written that one important finding from several decades of human development experience is that focusing exclusively on economic growth is problematic. So, focusing only on human development should be the goal of economic growth. This is wrong statement. So, 1 and 3 is wrong statement. So, 3 option number B is also gone. So, the correct answer will be C. Only second statement is correct, that human development and economic growth are not always positively related. And question number 2, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Higher economic growth is essential to ensure reduction in economic disparity. No. Unbalanced emphasis on growth is often associated with negative environmental consequences and adverse distributional effects. Means distribution of income. Adverse distributional effects. So, higher economic growth is essential to ensure reduction in economic disparity. This is wrong statement as per this passage. So, this option and this option is gone, and now we are left with option number B and D. So, let us examine option number 2. Environmental degradation is sometimes a consequence of economic growth. It is given unbalanced emphasis on growth is often associated with negative environmental consequences. So, environmental degradation is sometimes a consequence of economic growth. This is correct statement. So, the correct answer will be 2, that is B. And here the correct answer will be C. This is a passage of Civil Services Examination 2015. You may find this question in your question bank of Civil Services Examination. Kindly get it and solve this passage yourself, because this is the only way you can excel in your actual examination. And always remember importance of keywords. Here you might have seen what is the central theme of this passage: human development. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have seen there are 4 times the word human development has been given in this entire passage. So this is how you can approach the questions. But in actual examination, you can also go, if you are not very smart in your passage part, then you can go through question first. Here you will see, in developing countries, a strong institutional framework is the only requirement for human development. So, institutional framework, here is the institutional framework and human development. So, individuals, groups and leaders who promote human development operate under a strong institutional structure and political constraint that affect policy options. But experience suggests broad principles for shaping an appropriate agenda for human development. So, this you can go through these words to the passage itself. Human development and economic growth. Here, human development and economic growth is given. So, you can go from questions to passage also, but you should be able to read the passage from once, and then you can go through questions. And if you read questions, then your mind will be ready. So, where is the keywords like economic growth, economic disparity, environmental degradation and economic growth, and you can further search the correct answers from the passage itself. So, you can go through both way, but I will suggest you that you should be able to read the passage very clearly and underline the keywords, and then only you should go through the questions. After that you will be and go and try to figure out what is the central theme of the passage. The moment you will understand the central theme of passage, you will be able to easily solve the questions. And to get down to central theme, you should read the Times of India every day. The comment section of Times of India is very well laid out every day, and you should read those passages not only for preparation of your current affair and GS, but also for the preparation of your CSAT paper, because this is how you will have the best outcome for your CSAT, for your GS. And I hope you all are being benefited through my this endeavor, and I believe that each of you are studying these videos very sincerely, especially those who belong to Patna, because I believe Patna historically is a seat of strong leaders, administrators who have shaped the history of India. So all those who belong to Patna should take pride in themselves and work hard, and you should take the command of this country's future, because future of India belongs to Bihar, and future of Bihar belongs to Patna, a seat of rulers and administrators since ancient time, like Chandragupta and Chanakya. And even today we have Chanakya and we have Chandragupta Maurya. And again, your deepest instinct of becoming an administrator by regularly working hard and believing in yourself, and always identify yourself the very best selves that have ever taken birth on the holy soil of Patna. Jai Patna, Jai Bihar, Jai India.